Hey, barbarians! What's up? Thank you for passing by. My name is Phil, and I am from Mints and Drops. And today I'm having the pleasure to receive on the show no other than my boy, Monke from the Creamies. You know the man, you know the guy. Clutch artist, bringing everything this year. You know, the Creamlands, he's got a game. He's now a full resident over at Thailand. He's coming up, Clutch. Enjoy. Then it's a go. Monke from Creamies, how are you doing?
Good, good. Thanks for having me, Phil. Long time.
It's a pleasure. Yeah, man. And you know what? It's I thought about this walking back home this morning when you're the very first guest who's come on the show twice now. So you
big things, man.
Always a pleasure. Always a pleasure speaking to you, man. And major stuff happening right now for you. And yeah, like I said through DMs, man, I just wanted to touch base, whether that's a VC or, you know, DMs or whatnot, but all the better if you come on the show and we just can tackle it out, man. Thanks for being here.
Right. Anytime, man. Again, pleasure is mine. Thank you.
Thank you. Creamlands. Talk to me, man. There's so much going on. I mean, it's for me, my experience, I'll go over it later on if you will, but it's fun.
Yeah, man. Creamlands was just one of those ideas that formed into something bigger than we originally planned, right? And then it always happens like that, I feel like. And it's always got to be touch and go, and you got to kind of pivot when you have to and make adjustments that's necessary in the space, especially because things they're changing so rapidly, right? At all times. And like new things come up and you want to introduce new ideas and people get new ideas and you want to develop new stuff. But yeah, the thing is, like, Creamlands, as with all our projects, it's like an ongoing thing, right? Yeah, it's been a month or two. It's been over 2 months since we minted, I believe. But like, we just recently came out with the staking, and of course we're working out bugs on our staking platform. I feel like it's pretty solid as it is.
It is.
You know, just looking back on not just Creamlands, but the whole Creamies project with the master creamers, Creamlands, and the games and
the passes,
token, you know, just everything. It just, you know, I'm pretty proud of it looking back on it now. And you know, now we're at the phase where it's like, all right, now we need something that's even more challenging, because you don't want to keep doing the same thing, or you know, just keep doing things just for the purpose of doing it. You know what I mean? So we always want to challenge ourselves, and that's why we're in this space, right? If we didn't want to challenge ourselves, why would we kind of, you know, take this endeavor and go down a road that, you know, it's fairly new to most of us? So
yeah. Because to that range, I mean, you're the only one doing it, and I mean, me, my UI UX experience on this is I had and I am having fun. I'm genuinely having fun. You know what? Looking at pictures of who changes the pictures and who's my neighbors and whatever. Of course, I only got 2 plots. You know, I'm a shrimp, but still, it's fun. I mean, just seeing all your friends over there, man, what you're bringing as a package, and now with the claim.
So specifically for, sorry to cut you off, specifically for Creamlands, I guess, you know, you hear every ecosystem go through this. You have the NFTs and everyone's like, oh, what's the utility? You know, what's it good for other than, you know, this and other than that? It's like, well, our Creamlands NFTs are kind of like the definition of utility. It does exactly something. When it's in your wallet, you're allowed to do something with it. You own this piece of property, so you could edit it however you want. You know what I mean? Like, so that's kind of what we wanted to challenge, right? Like, what's a utility NFT? I feel like this is exactly, obviously it's not perfect. You have so many different angles you could hit at it, but it's like, you have this NFT, you can use it right away, right? Yes, it's on our website. You come on our website, but it's yours. Nobody else could, you know, change things on your land. Only you can. So that's kind of what we wanted to go with, right? It's like, we always wanted to challenge, like, okay, people, myself included, are always like, oh, what's the utility? Like, is there any utility? Of course, there's art NFTs, which I love as well. There's, you know, NFTs for gaming. It's like, so many different things could come of it, just collectibles, But like with the Cream lands, that was the point, right? It's like we give it direct utility. As soon as you buy it, you could do something with it. And we're just adding on utilities, right? Like staking. It's like, okay, I bought this NFT, I could change the land, and that's cool. I could promote something, I could, show my support or marketing. Like a lot of projects are, when they have a mint or something, they'll rent a bunch of land, and that's become like an ecosystem in itself, where people with 30 pieces of land, big plots of land, they'll rent it out for like a week. You know what I mean?
Promote
like 1,000 HBAR, right? So they're making income without having to sell their lands, and on top of that, now they could stake it, right? So it's like we're giving you like what I like to call loyalty points, right? When you have staking, when you have a claim, when you have some sort of HTS token or any non-native token, non-layer one token, I feel like that's 80% of its usage, right? It's like a loyalty rewards program type thing, and that's what you get rewarded in. And I know we were one of the first ones to do it on HEDERA with the token angle, and it's been really fun having to kind of figure it out for ourselves, right? Instead of kind of like, oh, this is what they did, so let's try that, right? We always try to go a route where not a lot of people are going, right? I feel like when we first came with our Creamies and Master Creamers, that was a new idea. It's nothing crazy, but it was a new idea. Cream tokens, that was a fresh idea, right? Getting on Sausage Swap, getting on the Dexes, Heli Swap, that was a fresh idea. Cream lands is a fresh idea. Even our coin flip, it was the first coin flip on HEDERA, right? Where do you remember we had no games, nothing relatively close to a game or anything.
I remember.
It was like the first game, right? It's a simple. I was
among the first players. I remember.
Right. It's a very simple coin flip. Yeah, it's the simplest you could get, but it was the first one. And that's kind of what we always try to do, right? And I guess that leads nicely into, I guess, what we have to talk about. And what's the future, right? And we when we started our project, what was it? Our first mint was back in May, right? So we minted a small portion, like 30% of our whole 1,111 in May, and then exactly a month later, June, we minted the rest. And between that, we introduced the cream tokens and the claim and the game, which we spoke about earlier, and then we released the rest, right? Which is why I feel like it went so well. And between that, even like the Master Creamer trade-in was introduced between that, which was like a direct utility for having 5 Creamies. You could trade it in for a Master Creamer, which is like a upgraded Creamie, right? It's like the next tier Creamie. And then those Creamies, thank you. Those Creamies we hold in a Creamies jail, right? Which they're not re-released into circulation yet, right? Until we kind of vote on it. But essentially, there's 617 Creamies. There's not 1,111, right? And then
anymore, of course.
Right. So it's like 600 supply of the Creamies. And I think that really, it's just basic economics, right? It really helps with the floor price because there's less of it, right? Less in circulation, less sell pressure, of course. And it's fun to see how everything is somewhat connected to like a economy, right? It's an economy-based system. The cream tokens itself, the Creamies, the Master Creamers, the lands, right? It all plays into each other. So it's
because you're pushing the narrative and you're pushing the community inside, and that's going to be a later point. But you've came up with 101 and unique ideas that you've pushed, because you can throw in ideas that people never saw. If they do not understand it, they will not onboard it, and especially if they do not see something they can get out of this, it's not going to work. But you've managed to have, and I see 4 core ideas that are still there, that still remain to this day, that were unique, the first, and that held the course, and meaning that they're still present. That's strong. And to me, in my opinion, that came in with the community. And again, the whole vibey thing that you brought upon us, which is, hey man, let's just band together, let's slash it up. And you were transparent about it.
Right. And I don't know, it's been fun. And whenever we talk on these shows, we want to discuss the future. But I feel like, this is my second time on your interview. It's like kind of want to discuss what's happened since then, right?
I changed the background since then, you noticed, right?
What's that?
I changed the background.
You scaled up, man. You got a nice mic. Yeah, man, you scaled up.
getting there.
Love it,
But
man.
yeah, but
One
no,
of
yeah,
the yeah, I feel like I was one of the first people who were like, yeah, man, do it, man.
yeah,
This is what it
yeah,
is, and
yeah, yeah, yeah.
challenge yourself and do it.
You did. You challenged me. Yeah, the very first time we hop on the mic, you gave me a couple of haymakers on my setup. I took
Right.
it like a pro, like a man. I said, okay, all right, okay, I gotta upgrade some stuff. And yeah, I mean, it's the same thing as for a project, right? When you talk about, the stuff that you put in English, it's iteration, or you just upgrade and you keep on it. Because when you get an idea for anything, right, you just throw it out there and people's gonna throw jabs at you and this is not working, but you just got to keep on hustling. And yeah,
Right. Nothing's
yeah,
ever perfect, right? And in
yeah,
our space, nothing's ever complete. I feel like it's
mm-hmm,
ever changing and ever evolving. Yeah.
yeah. Am I dreaming, or are you coming up with a game too? And this whole thing.
Yeah. So recently we've seen, and I don't know if everybody knows this, but recently we've seen a lot of projects and creators go the direction of the gaming. I feel
Mm-hmm.
like we've all went through phases together, right? And when I say creators, I'm talking a lot of the creators that either minted around the time we did or before. And that just happens because I feel like, you challenge yourself, It's like, what's the next step? And just looking at it, right, from my background, from my experience, before and from, the project itself being on HEDERA, an NFT project, I think it leads perfectly into a small scale game, right? I'm
Mm-hmm.
not saying like we're gonna make fucking Grand Theft Auto or like Call of Duty, right? I mean, if that's what you're going for, that's great. But you know, and I ideally when you start a project, you want to have the roadmap finished from start to finish, but it's not possible. And this
Mm-hmm.
is when I really realized that it's like
Yeah.
we had plans, for example, to work out things with the ETH integration with the JSON
Yeah.
RPC relay.
Yeah.
But that was on the roadmap for HEDERA in Q4 2022, but it
Mm-hmm.
hasn't come yet, right? And when we ask, it's not really definitive answers. I'm sure it's coming, but I don't want to stand around waiting for it.
Yeah.
So
No, you
what we
can't.
had to do was we can't, right? You lose
Yeah.
opportunity, it's opportunity cost, and it's just wasted time, which is the most valuable resource, I feel like. But anyway,
Yeah.
it's besides the point. Anyway, so we had to pivot essentially because we had this plan in May or before May, like March, April. This is what we're going to do. This is, this coincides with the HEDERA roadmap. It was on the website, and Q4 2022, JSON RPC with Ethereum, it'll be ready. We would get right on MetaMask, and
Yeah. Yeah.
that's what the
I
hope was.
remember.
And
Yeah. Yeah.
yeah, and we talked about it a few times, but things change, and that's exactly what happened. HEDERA wasn't ready with the JSON RPC, so we had to kind of pivot. And recently, like I moved to Thailand, right? So I was in Korea for a while, like 6 years, and then I just moved to Thailand about a month ago. I'm planning to stay here for a year at least. So, while we were moving, like my wife, she had nothing to do, right? She's in a new country, she doesn't speak the language. Excuse me, she doesn't speak the language. So like she was just, playing mobile games. And then, she didn't really play mobile games before, but she just picked it up. I'm looking at it and she's playing all day long, right?
And you're
And
like,
she's I'm talking all day,
oh.
bro.
Yeah.
Like from
Yeah.
from
Yeah.
from the moment she wakes up to the moment she sleeps, she's probably checked it 10, 12 times, right? A
Yeah.
day.
Yeah. Well, yeah.
And then they end up spending money, and it's like, okay, let me
Yeah.
find out what um she's doing, right? Like
Mm.
let me play some video games that I might like on mobile. So I downloaded a few like FIFA,
Yeah.
Home Run Derby
The
or
usual
something, Home
suspects.
Run,
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
right? Home Run Clash, like the biggest ones. And I realized, like, wow,
Yeah.
these guys. I don't know if you're familiar with like the like casinos, right? Essentially, they want to keep
Mm.
you in there as long as you can,
Yeah.
as
Yeah.
long as they can, and spend the most money and make it entertaining, right? Because if you go to the casino, you lose money and you're not happy, then you're not going back, right? But
Mm-hmm.
like me myself, I grew up a gambler, so I used to go to the casino pretty much every weekend. I thought of it as if I lost, it's entertainment. If I win, it's great, right? So it was fun and I won money. At the end of the day, I'm happy either way, right?
Mm-hmm.
And these games are similar. It's very it's very attention driven, reward driven. And I realized, okay, this just plays directly, just like any other game or any other system that wants to keep you there for a long time. I understand how it works, what drives it, and why it's successful. Because mobile gaming and mobile platform apps, very successful, right? You hear about very successful businesses that really just started off an app, right? And that's kind of, I realized like Web3 represents a lot of the decentralization. Anybody has, the power to do something. And it's like, if you think about it, a cell phone is kind of similar in the way, because obviously it's not the same. It's completely different, but it's similar in the way that it gives everybody power, right? Some sort of power that they didn't have before. For example, like China, right? You have mobile phones and you could do the riots and you could get your word out, even in the Middle East, whatever. And like mobile gaming is another aspect of that, right? It's entertainment that is free, right? Sort of free. It's free. So you have a mobile phone, you could play a mobile game for free. Whereas before, like 10, 20 years ago, you had to pay a lot of money for that. And exactly. It was it wasn't readily available like it is now. But now with the mobile phones, it gives everybody, that's connected to the internet, a source of communication and getting their word out there, just power. I that's how I like to think about it, right? Like their value, their value in their life, their, you know what I mean? Yeah,
and I always say it, the main gateway for, of course it's a huge discussion and again topic maybe, but the main gateway for NFT and crypto adoption will be through gaming. You can quote me on that. You can hate me on that. I do not care. I know I'm right because it's there for me. It's present. It's a path. It's just, and the best example again is your wife, where throw in an NFT in there, you win. Then you're already in that world. You're already inside the ecosystem or whichever you are, right? And you're already in.
Exactly. I mean, so we had to pivot and we saw all these creators go in the game direction, and we originally was always thinking game direction as well, and that's kind of played into the Ethereum side, right? We're like, okay, we'll have the Ethereum stuff ready and we'll have a game, so they would want to come over, right? Oh, they want to try this game, they create a hash pack and play, right? But now we're just like, you know what, we don't need to go for Ethereum because it's not ready. Obviously when that comes, we could do a small project with that, but while we're waiting, let's not just stand still idle, right? So what we've been doing is we've been pivoting towards like a mobile gaming direction. It's not focused on, I don't want to give everything away, but basically
just a little bit of alpha, right?
Right. Well, it's not so much alpha, it's the direction we chose as a project, right? We don't want to just make a game just to say, oh, we delivered this game and that's it. We have the confidence, we have the capital, the time and ability to actually challenge things. And it's like, okay, what can we do as a project that's number one, beneficial to our holders, number two, beneficial to our project, right, as a whole, and number three, maybe that benefits HEDERA, that benefits the Cream tokens, right? That creates a utility for Cream token, of course. So it's like, when we thought of that, it's like, we don't want to just rush out a game, right? We could rush out a game, no problem, put some Creamies aspects in. Sorry, my brain's foggy. Put some Creamies like art assets in there and say that's our game, right? And that's it. But that, I feel like that's a little too easy and taking it lightly. So we really want to challenge that. So we want to take that another level, I guess. And what I thought about was, okay, even if you don't have an NFT, you don't have a Creamies, would you want to play this game? If you are completely unaware of what the hell crypto is and Web3, can you play this game, right? Would it matter? Do you need to know what a hash pack or even what a Bitcoin is, right? Or what a C phrase is? And that's the ultimate goal. Like, we want to make something where anybody could play. You don't have to buy an NFT. You don't have to buy crypto because you don't have to know anything about HEDERA or what a transaction is or a signature is. And you'll be playing the game and you'll still be doing transactions on HEDERA, right? So it's just like a mobile game. That's the goal. So it'll function just like a mobile game, just like any mobile game you might play. Candy Crush, for example, you get rewards, and you might spend a few real dollars or whatever currency, right? $10 and get some bonuses. And essentially, if you have the NFT, it'll be bonuses in the game, right? Within the game, directly tied to your NFT. So when you log on, it's like, okay, you're logging on with Google. If you want to use your skins, you tie it in with your hashback, right? You log in and it scans, and it allows you to use those items or skins or whatever bonuses in game you could get. So, it's like it's made for everyone, with the benefit of having the blockchain integrated. And ultimately, we wanted to make it so it doesn't matter which side you're on. It doesn't matter if it's you, Phil, you're playing, or your, I don't know, your mother's sister who knows nothing about Bitcoin or crypto or HEDERA or what a transaction or signature or seed phrases. You get what I'm saying? So I feel like that's the ultimate goal, and we're going to kind of challenge. We're going to go that direction to challenge the current market narrative. Current thing in hand.
Second
I
question
feel like
is when?
Go ahead.
When? Yeah.
It's the hardest question in the world.
It is for
soon,
sure.
man. Soon.
Yeah.
We always say soon
Q2?
because I feel like no, Q2 is too fast. I say soon. And originally about 4 months ago, I was saying Q1, maybe Q2. And that's because originally when we went down this road, we were thinking simple games with very simple transactions. But it's like, if we're going to go this direction, why not kind of really challenge Web 2 and mobile gaming instead of just rinky-dink, mobile gaming. But with that said, we will have maybe 1 or 2 versions before the final product, but it won't be like the same version of itself. It'll always keep evolving. So we already kind of set the floor plan on how we want to develop it. And it's not so much, let's say, start to finish, Q2, Q3, Q4. You're going to see a game get released, I don't know, every 6 months or 3 months. And it's like, okay, it all plays into each other. And eventually we're going to get to the one game. It's like, this is what we were kind of working towards, right?
Yeah.
And, you could play game 1, 2, 3 before it's kind of the final product, right? And it's all different in its way. Like, for one could be a puzzle game. One could be like a sports game, and one could be, a multiplayer fighting game, for example. But it'll all have similar aspects where if you own a Creamies, for example, you'll be able to play all 3 of them and enjoy a benefit of having the NFT. And Cream Token, of course, will be incorporated into all.
Of course. Well,
into all of them, into anything we do.
That's where the juice is at.
Right. I mean, it's essentially like the lifeblood of our project. I feel like Cream Tokens, right? We have $120,000 worth of liquidity on SaussageSwap and HeliSwap combined, and that's an HBAR Cream, right? So you're talking like 60,000 in HBAR, 60,000 in Cream, split between the 2 platforms. Like and that's been like that since, I feel like we hit 100,000. Maybe
I saw
September.
September,
October, right?
Yeah.
So it's not like we're just doing this just to do it. No, we've been doing this for a while now. You know what I mean? Like 4 or 5 months. We created the LP as soon as SaussageSwap launched. What's that? Like August, September?
Yeah.
Right. So it's like, we've had liquidity in there provided by the team and other people who, want to stake their LP or provide liquidity to earn a yield.
And just want to support the project too, So
right.
Yeah.
People 100%. Don't even care. It's like, shit.
Yeah. Yeah.
Love what you guys are doing. We're supporting you guys. I feel like that's half of the NFT world, right? Once you kind of get dug in, right? Once you understand how things move, it's like, I don't need to make a capital gain on this at all. I just want to support this guy and this idea and this
100%. Yeah, for sure. Yeah. That's my take on many projects. Of course, me, but of course, me, it's my job. But at the same time, once you make friends out of this, there are projects, of course, that you need to flip, and some others you need to keep, and some others you just want to support, or some of them, all of them together, right? That's the main squeeze of it. And yeah, man. What's your Yeah.
If it was all the same, right? If every NFT was for a flip or for a bag, it wouldn't be as fun.
It'd be boring. It would.
Yeah,
It,
like
it
the
wouldn't. It wouldn't.
diversity.
There would be. If we wouldn't be
Choices.
standing here right now, I wouldn't be
Right.
in the morning tackling you through DMs and whatnot. That's there. You know, there's something more to it. Of course, gains is important. I'm not here to tell you that we're all
Right.
Jesus, and that's not it, right? But you know, there's more to this that's intertwined, and not necessarily in two lanes and two silos, but it's intertwined. When with all those numbers, yeah. What's your feel of the market right now? What's your
Current market conditions?
Yeah. Crypto, NFT, whole thing, whole bag, whole
I
thing,
mean,
whole shebang.
let's be honest, it hasn't been good for a while.
Yeah.
But we're all here, like we don't care for the most
I
part. I
don't.
feel like it's an ongoing bear market for like the last year, like, you know, and we're near the bottom. I don't know if this is the bottom. I don't care. I don't know if this is the bottom or whatever, if we're close, but I'm guessing it's close. But the point is that it's been going on so long that the people that would have left already. And let's be honest, like, you had NFT homies 6 months ago that you don't talk to anymore because they're not in the space, because they didn't see the benefit of being here. But later, when it gets better, I'm sure they'll be back, right? Because they have some knowledge of it, they understand, and then it's easier to get back to something you've done before versus, you know, find something new and discover something new. But that's besides the point. My point is, market is shitty. It has been for a while. Is it going to get better? Is it going to get worse? I don't know, but I do know in the long run, I would say 90% of the time, 99% of the time, the markets get better. You know, with crypto, it's a new thing. You got to understand, it's not like the stock market that has hundreds of years or you know, decades of years of, you know, history. It's literally
it's mature.
10, 20 years old, right? It's very immature. So you don't know what regulation is going to be and all that. So with that said, I feel like this isn't said enough. And if somebody by chance is listening that doesn't understand this, don't invest more than you could lose, or you are willing to lose.
Sure.
That's the biggest thing that I take away from any bear market.
How does it affect the project or the market being like that right now? Does it affect it to some extent? Of course, HBAR price, we can talk about it, but how?
Of course. So in a bear market, it hurts every aspect of every project, right? Because you're working with less people, right? Less resources, less money, importantly. But what you do get in return is time, right? Because you have less people, you have more time to work on critical parts of whatever you're working on, right? And it gives you the opportunity. I don't want to say it's definitely, but when you're in a bear market, it gives you time. It does, and it's quieter. And you know, for me as a project owner, I guess, as a project founder, this is the first market, the only market that I know of. But I would say versus 3, 4, 5 months ago, it's much quieter now. So it's given me the time, it's given me a perfect chance to pivot and, you know, learn new things and experience new things. And it's like, and it kind of works out because like I'm moving to Thailand, I haven't had the energy or, you know, time to really be dug in like I normally am, like with spaces, with these interviews, right? But I'm still working,
which is great.
Right. It's beneficial.
You're zooming out. It can be the greatest thing, and you've been through many phases too. If you came out in the month of May, you were there for the wave.
Well,
you were there for the come down.
Mint,
you were there for autumn.
Right. Exactly. Our first mint was in May, and yes, we did see a lot of ups and downs. You know, and I feel like as a project that's not chasing the hype train, right? People like we're a mature project now. I feel like after in this space 6, 7 months, it's like, okay, you're a mature project. You've delivered 3, 4 phases of your project. People trust you, but you're not always chasing the hype train. Where new projects that have new mints, of course, that's what they got to do. But we're more focused on like pushing the envelope, right? I feel like we've done a lot in the NFT space. And by that, I mean just NFTs, right? NFT collectibles. And I feel like we've done more than enough for that space to say, okay, we're happy with what we've done so far with what we've done, right? So it's like, what's next and what's challenging, right? Because like every step, you kind of got a challenge to grow, right? And find new ways of not just challenging yourself, but challenging the market, the market, man. That's what I like to do. I like to, you know, you know what the market wants. They want gains, but it's like, Yeah, but what if you're not always chasing games, right? And that's kind of the idea with Creamies, right? With the cream tokens, it's like you could hold your Creamies and still earn some, royalty income. You see what I'm saying? So
Yeah.
it's like that was the fundamental idea of it. I don't want to sell this NFT that I like so much, but I do want gains, right? So if I held Creamies since May 28th when we minted, I don't know the exact math because of course it fluctuated and went up and went down, price as well as your yield on number of cream tokens. But I'm sure you would have made way more than your mint. You see what I'm saying? Like,
For sure.
and that's kind of the idea, right? You don't have to sell it if you don't want to, and if you do, you of course have the choice to, and that's kind of the beauty of it, right? It's giving people more options. It's not, you know what I mean? And yeah, it's like
It's a
game
great
theory is
circle.
involved, and
Yeah. I see
what's interesting
success.
about it.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, it's a perfect circle because it makes you wants to hop in at the same time because there's more than the JPEG sitting inside of you, and at the same time you're keeping people in because they know that it's more. That's a W for me. What's the I know you're gonna say many, but still, what's your biggest fail so far?
I mean, biggest fail?
Yeah,
I would say there's too many, like you said.
yeah,
There's just too
but
many,
that's
right?
part of the process, man. That's
Right.
how it is. That's part, and
I mean,
and there's such a culture, and that's maybe that's in the West, but there's such a culture of failure, and you trip and you fall and you don't succeed, or you don't mint out, or your floor price sucks. There's such a culture around not succeeding the first time, second time, third time, that we kind of get accoutrement to it, and we're like, wow, you're failing. No, bro, this is a process. That's the step. That's the okay, I'm fighting my way, finding my lane, and this whole lane is in movements, right? So yeah, your biggest L, man. Talk to me.
I mean, and like you, I'm used to L's, man. I'll be honest. Like I'm used to L's, right? Because I always lived my life this way, and by that I mean don't trying things that are new to me, and things that maybe I'm not accustomed to, trying it and taking L's, and and I feel like our team is mature enough to be similar in that mindset. Just how they handle things, right? It's like, okay, something messed up. Shit, we could have lost $10,000, $50,000 or whatever. And it's like, all right, let's fucking fix it, right? And things are gonna go wrong, right? No matter what you do. It's just I feel like you don't fail until you quit, and every loss between the time you start and the time you win, or until you really quit, is a learning opportunity, right? Realistically, it's like, okay, these things are going to happen. It's normal, and the benefit of being in the Web3 space where a lot of like-minded people are together, it's like we understand, man, and we'll still support you. It's not like, okay, you had an issue with your staking. Our claim button was shut off for 48 hours because we were working out bugs, so we couldn't allow people to claim their cream tokens. Of course, it was accruing, but
communication was key through that phase. I know that was like 2 weeks ago. So nobody was worried. There was not, and we'll speak about it later on, but your infamous FUD. There was no miscommunication. I mean, I was like, okay, it's not working. I know my creamy tokens are in safe spot. Usually I used to claim every single 24 hours. I was there. I had a timer and reminder. I was like, okay, then I just can't claim. That's fine. But that's not an L. What's your biggest L, man? Come on, you're being secretive now.
Biggest like I said, man, there's so many. Like there was an exploit on one of our wallets, for example, that allowed someone to take 15
the password,
Creamies, Creamies NFTs and sell them on the market, which is horrible, right? It's like, no, that was Creamy jail. That should have never made it out of Creamy jail. But like we were very lucky again to have caught it. Like I believe it was like 4 days since their first transfer of 5 Creamies, because what they were doing was they were taking the Creamies, they were putting them on Zeus, and they were selling them, right? And he got really lucky because it was at a time where someone was pushing up the price, right? Someone was coming in, two whales actually were coming in at the same time, so it pushed up the price a little bit, and it went by unnoticed for a couple of days, and then I was just doing my routine checkups of our wallets because we have a lot of different wallets that we need to look after. And I noticed like the number changed. I'm like, why would this number change? And we found it. And that was pretty big in the sense that it made me realize some things are out of my power, because after the fact that 15 were gone and sold on the market, it's like you think about your options. Do we freeze those 15? Do we, like, do we buy them back? What do we do? And put them back in jail? And people realize, like, not really much you can do, right? Spill milk. So it's like that was an L where we didn't have a solution for. So that I think that's the biggest L that stays with me. Because other L's is like, okay, we could patch that. We could, find a bug and we could fix that. And, we could find a workaround. Or
I think if you're transparent about it and and that's what you've been doing,
Right.
and no smoke. If you're transparent about it, people see it as a process, because down the road, they see it as they can relate to it, right? Because when I think about Creamies, all I think about is fun. I think about those JPEGs. I think about you, Quack, the team, all the memes that's going on in the Discord, and I think about fun, organized, and I'm not thinking about, oh yeah, this happened. And maybe that's because I'm a fool, I'm the realistic, optimistic, but still, that's the general public's for sure opinion, because they know it's a process.
Right. And I feel like I said earlier, like we're now mature, right? So people, we've built that rapport with the community. When we say we're going to deliver something, it's coming. It's definitely coming. We've never said anything that we didn't directly deliver on, right? That's what we're known for. We're known for saying what we're going to do and delivering exactly that, right? And I feel like we built this rapport where it's like, okay, they messed up or they got delayed. People aren't up at arms, right? Because normally people would be up at arms. If it's a new project, new team, you don't know them, you're not familiar. Then you're going to be like, hey, what's going on? Like, because you're essentially invested into the project, right? If you have their NFTs. So you got to ask your questions. But now it's like people don't even ask questions. It's kind of getting boring. It's like,
well, you passed the test of time. Well, I mean, you passed the test of time, and then who's there's Guac, of course, with you. Who's the third one with you that started this project?
Our CTO, Jay. So Jay has been on a few interviews and he's been on Twitter Spaces, but he's an older gentleman, right? He's semi-retired. He's worked for Fortune 500 companies in the media, and he's been doing this IT tech thing, right? As a director of a Fortune 500 company for like over 20 years, right? He hasn't been a director for 20 years. Like, I think it was like 6 years, but what I'm saying is he's been in the field for 20 years.
He has credibility.
Right. He's got time in. He's an OG in not just, crypto, but just the tech field in general, and delivering projects and delivering infrastructure pieces and stuff. So he's very capable, he's very mature, and I've learned a lot from him. And that's Jay. King Phantom, aka Joker, I believe is his other moniker. And Guac, of course. I will leak some alpha. I don't know if it's alpha pertaining directly to the project. I guess it is. But Guac will officially come on as a co-founder in February. So it's February now, actually. It's February 1st at the time of recording.
Yeah, it is.
But
congratulations, Guac. Bravo. Well deserved, man. I mean, wow. Congratulations, Guac. Wow.
So Guac is officially number 3 out of the 3 Creamies founders. And very deserving. He's been here since the beginning. He's helped every aspect of a lot of what we've done, and he's an OG, right?
Definitely is.
OG in the space. Everybody knows him.
Shout out to Guac, man. Wow. If you're watching this, well, you better be watching this, man. So yeah, man. Wow. Imagine he's not watching the show with his partner. That's super cool, man. Congrats. You've linked up with many amazing people in our space through the very first time. What was the first time we've met or so? Was it through Creamies?
I feel like koalas, right?
Yeah. I remember seeing the ice cream cones. I was not understanding a thing what was happening with this ice cream cones. Like, what's going on here? What's
right? So the Creamies lore
April,
is long.
March. Whatever.
That was back in March and February times.
Almost a year. So that's 10 years we've known each other. So you've built, no cap. You've built, and we spoke about it before getting recorded, but this level of trust that comes through times, of course. But you've built a network of people that shares the same common values in terms of work ethics, life ethics too down the road, because they're all together. There's a term that I'm pushing all the time, which is called mutuality, and you're bringing this with the Cream lens. And in my opinion, you're the very first to have pushed this narrative, and whatever the word is, right? That you've pushed this narrative of, okay, we're still, and there's this image of, we have to grow the pie instead of eating more. We're still very early inside the ecosystem. We have lots to do. Let's just stop like working in silos and in our very same lane. Let's just try to assemble the very much people that you vibe with and that you're correlating with work-wise, and let's just slay together. It's a band of people that works, and it works. And you're the very first guy, in my opinion, that came through clutch in our ecosystem with that kind of mutuality, and it worked. So again, we talked about stuff that worked for Creamies, for, of course, the lands, the Creamy tokens, the Cream Pass. But that, to me, that's what you've brought that was the most valuable, because now everyone is doing it to certain degrees, certain angles and whatever. But yeah, mutuality, you pioneered that stuff for sure.
Yeah, I mean, we always have that idea, right? When you're moving into space, it's like, oh, let's work with different projects and let's work with different people, and it's mutually beneficial, and that's what we're all here for. It's a win-win situation. But to actually go that route where you have to coordinate 16 projects on things, right? With like Creamlines, it was like, I believe there was 16 total projects involved, and other outsourcing
different time zones
teams, right? Different time zones, different ideas, different thoughts, and and kind of spearhead that and actually have the organization skills to deliver on something like that and keep everybody happy while you're doing it. It's not easy, and I try to stay humble, but I'm very proud of what we were able to do. And I feel like ever since then, we've been seeing much more projects be more open to things like that, right?
Yeah.
Whereas before, it's like, oh, you want to collaborate. It's like, okay, let's, make an NFT and sell it together. And that's great. Whereas the Cream Lanes, we actually built something together, right? There was a project doing the art. There was a project doing the 3D art. There was a project doing the marketing. And we were doing the development and, putting it all together.
Yeah.
And we did do something that wasn't done on HEDERA, but I feel like it's very beneficial to everybody, because every project, every team, every person has their skills and they have weaknesses. And if you find someone that's good at something you're not good at, that's how you become better, right? That's how you become stronger and challenge and
for sure
go to the next level. And I feel like that's why Creamlands was so successful, not because of what we did, but because of the caliber of the teams that were behind
for sure
what we were building, right? And we were just the ones to deliver it, really. You know what I mean?
It shows you're all pushing like the same kind of narrative and kind of same image at the same time. You're all striving, and that showed, at least on socials. Yeah, for sure, 100%.
I mean, I'm just glad none of our partners felt negative about the whole ordeal, right? Everybody was happy. And, even the people who minted, they were happy. So it's like, okay, if everybody's happy, did you succeed? Yeah, to me, you succeeded.
For sure.
If everybody's happy. No parties unhappy, other than the ones that couldn't mint a diamond land or a platinum land. You know what I mean?
Yeah, for sure. That's beside it. Yeah. That's part of the gambling through minting. Right. Yeah, for sure.
Right.
Next topic is a kind of it's not a touchy one, but it always brings to me the biggest flames through spaces or whatever. And I have my own answer, but I want to have your take on this. And that's not Thai food. We'll get through it. But what's your core idea on floor price and selling out for a project, in terms of, because that brings the most out of people, like they go ham.
This is a very this is a very loaded question, right? There's so many ways you could use an NFT. For example, like a hashgraph name, right? Nobody cares about the floor price on a hashgraph name overall, but they might care about specific ones like numbers, digits, whatever. But my point is, NFTs could be so vast, and you could have different projects. A game might release NFTs and not expect to sell out ever, have an unlimited supply, or have enough where they're not gonna worry about that. But if we're talking about like a project like ours, and similarly maybe like Hangry Barboons and Dead Pixels, you know, more so NFTs you hold and maybe flip and make some capital gains on, you know. I think floor price is important in the sense that it helps gauge the market very well, right? Let's be honest. If you don't have any reason to sell an NFT, why wouldn't you sell it? Is a lot of people's concept, right? It's like if I see no benefit of, number one, holding it today or holding it for the near future, why would I keep holding on to it? Especially if I don't feel like there's anything coming. And that's just the free market, right? Where it's if they want to sell it, they're going to sell it. If they don't, they don't. Right? And you can't force anything into the market. Of course, you could try to drive traffic one way or another, or, you know, drive public perception one way or another, but it's impossible. You're at the ebbs and flows of the free market. And it sucks as a project creator when your floor price is down. It sucks.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, for sure.
It hurts. It hurts me because of knowing that feeling is it like holding it back, right? I bought this at 1,000, now it's at 500. Do I just cut my losses and sell at 400 or 500? Or do I hold on and hope it goes back to 1,000 or maybe 2,000, right? And holding that bag is probably the worst feeling, especially if you're active in this space and you're looking at your wallet more than once a day. You know what I mean? You're like, fuck, this ugly cream-headed JPEG. You know what I mean? I bought it at 1,000, now it's 500, whatever. But, you know, ultimately, it's like anything else in this world. You can't control it. Don't worry about it. You know what I mean?
For sure.
Just grind at your idea. And if you're successful, if you pick the right battles to choose and the right goals to set for yourself and you deliver, you know, then you're going to succeed. You see what I'm saying? Whether that's reflected in the floor price or not, it's not always 100%. It's not black and white, right?
Yeah, precisely. To me, it's a metric. It's a metric amongst many stuff where, you know, of course, it's going to fluctuate towards the market and towards the news and towards what's the project's pushing or what's coming up, or the liquidity inside the total market, or is it new, is it fresh, is somebody else, you know, minting soon or whatever. But it's a metric amongst a whole set of things, man. So I mean, my answer to that is yes and no. You have to just take into context and consideration with a lot of other stuff, a lot of other variables, for sure.
I mean, even if we're very healthy as a project and everybody's happy and we just delivered some crazy utilities and we have some more utilities lined up, if the market is bad and people need liquidity, there's going to be more NFTs on the market for sale.
Yeah.
And if there's more people selling, that's competition for sellers. So they're going to lower the price. You see what I'm saying? So, you know, and these things you can't really control. And luckily, yes, we saw Creamies floor price at like 11,000 once. 10,000 for a few weeks, and it's at like 4,000 now.
6 figures,
right? And it's at 4,000 now. It hurts because I know people bought in at 6,000 and they're looking at their bag like, shit, I'm down 50%, and it's like, okay, at least while you hold, you get the cream token, so you could sell that, you could do whatever you want with it, you could spend it, you get some entertainment, you get some value for holding. If floor recovers, they could sell it, you know, whatever. And we don't pressure anybody one way or another. That's a big thing that I feel like we run our project differently than the mainstream would. And what I mean by that is you see all these very successful projects that, you know, sell shame, that might run things a certain way, but
to control the floor.
Right. But for us, it's like, oh man, it's, you want to sell, you're still a homie. Like, we don't really care. You know, you don't even have to have a Creamies. We don't care. Like, we're not pushing that narrative, and it's good and it's bad. It's good because it doesn't pressure our holders, but it's bad because it doesn't pressure those people on the edge, like buying or selling. Like, hey, should I buy a Creamies? It's like, you know, every other project, they're gonna be like, yeah, you gotta buy one, bro. It's gonna go to the moon. But we're like,
but you do, it's about balance. But it's about balance at the same time. You're not saying this, but you're saying, hey, we're having some amazing stuff And how many Creamies are there? They're not 1111, bro. There's 617 or so. So I'm just, but again, yeah. For me, this is stronger than, and again, respect to anyone who's doing it. This is stronger to me than just going, oh yeah, sweep the floor, which is fine. It's fine, but it goes to a certain way and it attracts a certain type of people.
Exactly.
And this core community that will speak to good graces will always be stronger than, I want to make flags.
Exactly. It doesn't follow the normal playbook of a stereotypical 100%. NFT project, right? And like you said, we know why we do it, and I do think ultimately that this is substance, right? This isn't hype, and we're not here to create a project for 6 months and bounce. You know what I mean? We're going to be here till you guys don't want us to be here. You see what I'm saying? Till nobody really gives a fuck. So it's like, with that said, it's like the way we run our project might be, like I said, different. And when people feel that, they might not be accustomed to it. But like a lot of the OGs, they're very familiar with us. They know, they vibe with it. Like you said, that's the kind of crowd that we ended up with, right? We got a lot of OGs, that support what we do and don't think that, right, everybody's in there. So it's like all the new people, it's like they see the new shit coming out, the new mints that are coming out. But as far as like a mature project that's really delivering on its promises, and that's actually looking out for the welfare of the project and the holders and all that, I feel like we've done a fairly good job, and I'm very proud of our team for being able to deliver on a lot.
Rightfully so from someone from the outside, and message is clear, and we see the work being done, and we see it consistently. Even though you're in Thailand having fun with the food and all, we see but seriously, from the outside it looks solid, and that's what counts, because you bring a level of trust with time, of course, but with work being done the proper way too. So yeah, for sure.
Appreciate that, brother.
It's true, man. I got a jet soon, but for last, man, I gotta ask you, what FUD? Again, that's another angle, bro. Another angle that you pioneered. How many projects? And this is back then, by the way. This is not now. I think the ecosystem is much more mature than it was back then, right? They'll say month of June, like right before the wave. What project could have come on and just brag about FUD and people understand right away that it's a joke, it's branding, and it's well done, and it fits with the NFT. Bro, trendsetter, it worked. You're not tackling this anymore, of course, because people understood, and it's so well understood that people say, okay, well, whatever. But that wave that you rode truly made me laugh, still to this day, truly made me laugh every single time, because I was like, bro, okay, people are not going to fall for this, and no one was. And it was a whole it was fun. It was we brought fun. So yeah, that was my point.
I mean, well, let's be honest, we're here, right? We don't want to be like business suit and tie, and that's not the vibe we want, right? I mean, some people do, but that's not the vibe we want. So we like to have fun with it, so enjoy ourselves. So we say our little jokes here and there, and people like them. And I felt like at that time we were very immature, very small ecosystem, and very new to it all. And now, we have these different personalities now, right? We have influencers coming out, shit like they're trying to grow their base off of the back of HEDERA NFTs, and it's fun to see that change. Right? I don't know if it's growth. I don't know what you classify it as, but it's change.
It is,
right? Change, and it's fun to see that.
Monke, it's been a pleasure.
Thank you for having me, brother.
It's late for you. What time is it for you now?
It's only 10, actually.
Oh, easy. All right.
Are you going
tired. To bed? Okay.
Yeah, I'm a little tired because we got to do a lot of stuff here, and you got to go outside the house to do it, and it's really hot and humid, so you get tired pretty quickly. Today, for some reason, I'm extra tired. But thank you, Phil. for having me. It's always a pleasure. I know we were rambling here and there and probably went off topic too much, but thanks again. I appreciate it, man.
I had fun. It was perfect, man. Thanks again for your time. Thanks for coming into the show. Always a pleasure. You are welcome, or any member of the team at any given point. I love the Creamies. I've loved you since the very beginning, man. I think, again, you're a positive force. No smoke, you rock. Keep at it, man. I got your back. We got your back.
Thank you, sir. And you as well, man. Thank you.
Take care, brother.
Bye-bye.
Monke, thank you so much for your presence today on the show on what was Mints and Drops' longest and biggest show thus far. I value very much your friendship, what you've done for the ecosystem. Again, big shout out to you. You've pioneered this, what I call mutuality inside HEDERA NFT. And best of success for everything you got leading on to 2023. Thank you so much for every single one of you who's watching the show. And I will see you on the next one.